It's time now for County-Wide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Brad Miller as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives here in Yavapai County. And now, here's today's County-Wide.
Welcome to County-Wide. I'm Paul David. Great to have you in studio with us today. We're going to be talking about the Every 15 Minutes program. I think you've heard about this before. I think we've had this on a few times. Maybe not on County-Wide, but we've actually discussed it several years in a row now. I participate in it. Tish participates from Verde Valley Medical Center. Welcome to studio, Tish.
Thank you.
Tish Arwine. And then Brandon Wacker from Cottonwood Fire Department. You're no stranger to the studios, that's for sure. But we've done programs on the Every 15 Minutes, how many years now?
This will be our 8th program.
And this is the 8th year that you've been working on this program?
Yes.
Okay. And then each year that we do it down here in the Verde Valley, I think my portion of that is to kind of do news stories during it while it's actually taking place in the high school. So we're going to get into it and kind of talk about what Every 15 Minutes is. And as we were talking before the show, we've kind of realized that it's not just the kids. Brandon, you mentioned not just the kids that get affected by this, but it's also their parents, guardians, whatnot get affected by it too. So let's jump into it. What is Every 15 Minutes and where did it start?
The Every 15 Minute program started in Canada in 1995, and it was an anti-drinking and driving program. And at the time, the statistic was every 15 minutes someone was dying from an alcohol-related traffic collision.
And we're talking about young people here, right?
Yes.
Okay, we're talking about young people.
Yes,
Okay.
high school is where it's targeted to, the juniors and seniors. And then it moved to Spokane, Washington, did the first program in the United States, and then California Highway Patrol took it and made it what it is today. It's across the whole country, huge program. So they keep fine-tuning it and changing it, but so California Highway Patrol is pretty much responsible for turning it into what it is today.
Now, do they do it statewide? I mean, do you know other departments in the state that participate in it as well?
Yes, there's some Valley high schools that I've seen do it. So
it's kind of a different program. The first year I saw it, I thought it was really, really unusual. But at the same time, I understood why it was the way it is. It's more like a in-your-face scare tactic. Like, it's hard to reach people sometimes, and to show them what's going to happen. I mean, you can watch cops on TV, or you can see all these programs where you see all this trauma taking place and stuff. But until you see it with your own eye and you're up that close like that, I think that has a different reaction to you. And that's the goal of this, right?
Yep, the goal is, I think that's what they found is that scare factor is what's going to actually open their eyes and get them to pay attention to what the message we're trying to deliver to them. So it's definitely an eye-opener. It's very emotional. It's very scary, especially for the parents. The parents know that we're doing the program, but we don't really go into detail exactly what we're doing because we want that scare factor. So,
God, I remember that in the years past too, where you must not say much to the parents because, I mean, you think they're acting and stuff, but then you see the tears coming and the moms running out to the accident scene, this crash scene. And we're going to talk about in detail kind of how this all plays out in front of the kids. But yeah, it's very dramatic.
Yes.
How does the whole thing start?
Well, it starts off on the first day. We do what we call the Living Dead. So what we do is, we'll backtrack a little bit.
Okay.
The school picks, I go to the school and they have them pick about 20 kids, 25 kids to participate. And out of those, we take what we call the core 8 or 10 or whatever we decide to put into the mock accident. And we call those the core. The rest of them we call Living Dead, and that's how the first day starts, is what we'll do is and that's when the police officer goes to the class they're supposed to be in, and he walks in and asks for the student, and the teacher says, they're not here. And then the student walks in, and the cop reads the obituary and says, today he died due to an alcohol-related traffic collision.
And the kids are dressed all in black, and then they usually have their faces painted white to represent that they are deceased.
Yes, and obviously they're not really. And they go in, they still participate in classroom activities, they just can't talk all day. They're not allowed to talk to anybody.
Oh, that's got to be a tough one.
Yes. So, and then once we do that, we do all those kids in the morning, then we go into the mock accident at around lunch, right before lunch, and we'd run the mock accident. And 2 students are real critical, in the accident, and they turn fatal. And then
well, this accident scene. It's you kind of brushing over it, but
Yeah.
this is truly two cars that are completely crunched up.
Yes.
You got people leaning out of them. You've got the mock blood dripped all over the place.
Yes.
What I think is really neat is that you've got the smoke and stuff going on there, and you guys cover the entire two vehicles with these large tarps. And then as you pull those away, that smoke comes billowing out, and they've got people moaning and groaning, and it's like action.
Yeah.
And you would think you were at a two-vehicle head-on collision, because it's a head-on collision,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's what we try and base it on realism. I mean, we make it as real as we can. So yeah, once those tarps come off, then we run it just like an actual scene. I mean, the cops come in, the fire trucks, the ambulance.
It's really dramatic.
Everybody comes in, and we run it just like, we talk on the radio with dispatch. We do everything just like a real scene, and call helicopters in, and if they're needed, and all that.
You got the media there.
Yep, media's there.
Breaking in every now and again, talking about like if it was a head-on collision, it was blocking traffic. I would be getting calls from Fire Chief Kirkendall, and then you guys are only allowed to say so much about who's involved in the accident and what's taking place. So Kirkendall can tell me it's a fatal accident, but he certainly can't tell me who's involved in the accident, ages or any of that stuff because of the HEPA laws.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, then I've got Chief Jody Fanning from the police department. He can start relaying a little more information as to what's taking place.
Yep.
With names.
Yeah, and that's that's realistic. That's what we'd really do if it was a real scenario. So.
Jaws of Life.
We use the Jaws of Life. We have to extricate the students out of the car, and then one of the students is the drunk driver, the one who caused the accident, and the cops deal with that for that student and arrest him for DUI. And so then we run the accident scene. Once we finish up that, then we go into more events that afternoon that just those core students are involved in, and that's when we go to the jail. We go to the jail, and the officer takes that student that was arrested for DUI and runs them through an actual booking process.
Does the student body come with you to the?
Those core 8 or 10 or whatever that are in the accident. They stick with us the whole time. They're with us till Friday. So we'll go to the jail, and they'll do the whole booking. From there, we'll go to the hospital, or vice versa, depending on the time and how it's all planned out. It may change, but either the jail or hospital first. Then we go to the hospital.
Can we have Tish talk about what happens at the hospital? Because you're going to how does the Verde Valley Medical Center set it up so that these kids see that this is still the result of your actions?
So we have a trauma room. As our trauma center, we have a room now that's designated as the trauma bay. So we bring the patient into that room. We get them up on the bed. We usually have to remoulage their face, make them look more injured at that point. We get them on the bed. We have all of the mock equipment set up in the room, so we make the kid look like he's actually been intubated, so that he has a tube or she has a tube in their throat that they're breathing for him. When the doctor will come in, and we run run it like it's an actual trauma code within the department. So we have a couple nurses in the room. Usually we're doing compressions on the person. We'll do that for about 5-10 minutes, and then we bring the parents in, and that's usually the first interaction that these parents have had with their kid, to know that they have been involved in that.
What have you seen in the past when the parents walk in there like that?
It's very dramatic.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been times that so they know that their kid is involved in this program, but they don't know to what extent, and it becomes reality at that point for them. I've actually had to pull chairs over because I thought that the parent was.
Really? It's gotten that?
Yes.
Really? They get that intense on it?
Parents lay on top of their kids, just crying. And these kids, or high school kids, I should call them, they're amazing at this point, because they are able to maintain their own composure during this whole time and just lay there and act dead while we do everything for them, while their parents are in the room and their parents are crying. And I've had parents yelling at the doctors to save my baby, do more, don't quit, don't quit. They were going to go to college and have scholarships and stuff. So there's a real reality at that point. And then we have caseworkers that are involved too, that actually have conversations with parents about being donors and what they want to do at that point with their body.
Oh my gosh.
So at that point, the parents leave, and they leave seeing their kid on the table dead. and that's their last moments with their kid. And then they come with us overnight for this retreat. So they're still, and you know, when they go home that day, they don't have any communications with their kid anymore. They assume that they're dead.
All right, let's take a quick break. When I come back, I've got a few more questions about what takes place in the trauma room with the kids. Cottonwood firefighter EMT Brandon Wacker in studio today. Also, Verde Valley Medical Center's pre-hospital trauma coordinator, Tish Arwine. I'm Paul David. This is Countywide. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
A single ember from a wildfire can travel over a mile. That ember can ignite and destroy your home or community. You can't control where that ember will land. Only what happens before it does. Visit fireadapted.org to learn how you can help protect your community from wildfires.
A full life, measured in seats, starts with the right ones early on. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Learn how to prevent deaths and injuries by using the right car seat for your child's age and size.
Know what?
What?
Since I got adopted, I've learned a lot about these humans.
I know. I mean, check out these two. It's Flirt City over here.
Yeah, I noticed that. It looks like my human is definitely into your human.
Oh, look! I think she's getting his number.
Nice.
Your human's got some sweet moves.
Takes after his dog. Oh, look, they're doing that thing where they put their arms around each other.
She kicked up a leg. It's like in the movies.
That's awesome. Looks like we're going to be hanging out a little bit more.
Look at me. Hey.
Raymond, look at Mommy.
Maybe the light hurts his eyes.
Maybe she's just not hungry. Maybe he can't hear us. Maybe we're not stimulating him enough. Maybe it's a phase.
Avoiding eye contact is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
Welcome back to Countywide. We're talking with Tish Arwine from Verde Valley Medical Center and Brandon Wacker from Cottonwood Fire Department about the Every 15 Minutes program. You can find out more at every15minutes.com. It's a nationwide program.
Yep.
As you said, it came from Canada, went into Washington, California, now it's over here and across the country. Tish, back to the hospital. It's real dramatic. Parents are seeing their child dead. I think this one particular one, we have two dead. A total of 9 people in the vehicles. The rest of them probably have multiple injuries.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's a lot of people in these vehicles these days. How many actually come through the trauma room and are worked on? Is it just the one that, because one's dead on scene.
Yes, we have
and then
one.
one dies at the hospital. What about the rest of them? Are they all going through some kind of trauma as well?
So from the scene, we have the different agencies respond, and they'll provide some medical treatment to them on scene. So it actually, the student body gets to witness that part of it. So they're seeing them get some care. They all go to the hospital and they actually do witness this this accident, or I'm sorry, the working of the one child that's being resuscitated in the trauma bay. So they're part of that. We actually bring them in towards the end of it as well. And most of them know the parents of the kid that's died in the trauma bay. So there's some interaction there as well, but we don't do anything more with those, the remainder of the core in the emergency department. It's just the one that we're resuscitating.
Okay, but that should be good enough right there. I mean, that should say a lot. You said this obviously takes a lot of people to put this together, so we want to make sure we definitely talk about that. But I guess before we get to that, though, there is more after this.
Yes.
Now, we've got the trauma. We have the DUI suspect has been arrested, taken into custody, charges pending. We have our second fatal accident now at Verde Valley Medical Center, the second patient that died. There's also a trial.
Yes. Well, after we're done with the hospital and jail, we take those core students and we go to a retreat up in Sedona. We got a hotel up there and take them up there and We do other events, kind of more get to know each other type of thing, just kind of a bonding thing for those kids. At the retreat, we also do go over statistics and stuff like that with them. And then the next morning we get up and we bring them back to the school. And that day we have a mock trial for the DUI driver, which for the purpose of the program, they've already been found guilty, and so it's a sentencing phase.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And in that we have an actual judge, Judge Ron Ramsey's doing it this year, and then we have 2 attorneys from the area that come in and represent each side, and we set it up just like an actual sentencing phase, and they sentenced the drunk driver to prison for 2 counts of vehicular manslaughter and DUI. And from there we go into a mock funeral for the 2 that have passed away the day before. So they do the mock funeral, and then from there we have a guest speaker, Jason Burns from Flagstaff, who was actually involved in high school. He was a passenger in a vehicle with a drunk driver, and he was ejected, and he talks about his story and how it's changed his life forever. He's got effects from it forever.
He wishes that what if had come in a little earlier, huh?
And he's an excellent speaker. I mean, it is his presentation is powerful. So, and then that concludes the whole program.
It's a big program.
It is.
Takes a while to accomplish. It takes a while to get set up, too. So you guys have got to be working about 3 months to set it up.
Preparation.
And then how many people do you have that actually help get this set up? You mentioned Sean in Sedona. You want to make sure we mention Sean, yeah.
Him and I actually did our first program together up there, or he did it, and I assisted him, and then we came down here and did it at Mingus. And then Tish got involved the year after that and been with us ever since. So the 3 of us pretty much got this thing going, and Sean's decided to step down from it this year, but we have got Captain Jeff Wassel from Sedona Fire helping us as well.
And this flips back and forth between the 2 communities,
yes,
right?
Yes, we do it every 2 years because it's targeted at juniors and seniors. So every 2 years, obviously, the juniors and seniors are going to be new. And yeah, we do. So we were at Sedona last year, we're at Mingus this year, back to Sedona. So we go back and forth. So every year we're doing it between the 2, and eventually we'd like to try and incorporate Camp Verde and just get this thing growing. So.
Now, my other question for you is, okay, once they leave the accident scene and the kids have seen the actual scene that's going to be taking place at the high school, how do we get the information that takes place at the hospital? And then the trial takes place at the school, so they see that as well. But what about the trauma there, and then also what's taking place at the police station?
The next morning, to open up the assembly for the trial and the funeral and everything, Ryan Nichols actually comes back and he puts together about an 8-minute video or so of everything that happened the day before. And
so Ryan here is always filming, and recording.
And actually, he starts with the party scene that we filmed in advance. They've a fake party that they're doing to kind of lead into it. So it goes from that into the living dead that we talked about, to the accident scene, to the jail, to the hospital.
Nice.
So it leads everything that happened the first day, leads everything up to where we're about to start the second day.
Awesome. Okay. Let's take our other break. And when we come back, you've got some statistics that we definitely need to talk about. And then some changes. This program is actually showing a positive change in things. So let's talk about that too, okay? Every15minutes.com is where you can find more information about that. Stick around. Countywide will be back in just a couple minutes.
Ronnie had huge aspirations.
He knew he could get pills in the community.
He found his body in an apartment in Telford.
I never thought my son would take prescription drugs without a prescription.
Secure your medications and talk with your kids. Visit drugfree.org.
Wake the sun, tell him that I've begun to dream of things to come, and tell the trees not to look for me. I'm going to find some peace of mind. Wake the sun, wake the sun, wake the sun, wake the sun.
I I would steal pills from my friend's mom.
We talk about all the common drugs, but never prescription medication.
I was addicted to pills.
Had I more knowledge, I would have done things differently.
Secure your medications and talk with your kids. Visit drugfree.org.
A single ember from a wildfire can travel over a mile. That ember can ignite and destroy your home or community. You can't control where that ember will land. Only what happens before it does. Visit fireadapted.org to learn how you can help protect your community from wildfires.
Welcome back to Countywide. We've got a few minutes left of the program and some interesting statistics to talk about. Let's start with you, Tish. Give you some of yours, and then we do want to make sure we mention that this program, over the years that you've been doing it, is actually showing
improvement.
Improvement, yeah.
Definitely. So I have some data from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. In 2012, there was 10,322 fatalities that involved alcohol. So they had a blood alcohol content of 0.08 or higher.
Okay.
Is the number that they're looking at. So 31% of total traffic fatalities for the whole year were alcohol related. One of the points that we wanted to bring up on here, that equates to a death every 51 minutes. So we've talked about this program and how initially when the program was created, there was a fatality every 15 minutes from alcohol. So this shows that this is significantly improved. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration had set a goal. These were statistics from 2012, and they had set a goal at that point to decrease the number below 10,000. So obviously any fatality with alcohol is traumatic, and we want none. We don't want to have to deal with that. But
it truly is a preventable death.
Exactly. And of that number in Arizona alone, so we had 825 fatalities in 2012. And this is a real number that has affected us here, even in our own Verde Valley. So it's something that, we try to do this program to drive home the point to the students that you're not exempt from this.
It can happen to you.
Yes. Exactly.
You know, that I always call it the what if. I used to tell my kids, you need to get the what if factor in your head. What if this does happen? And it can. And you said now the program is actually it's going to be, we may change it to every 51 minutes, that's great. It should be making progress. It shows it's making progress, right?
Yeah, as far as we know, there's no plans to change the name because there's, that's where it started. So we want to show that it's changing, it's making a difference. That and the MAD programs and all these different other programs that are around, they're making a difference. And as Tish mentioned, 10,000 deaths in 2012. In 2000, there was 41,000.
Oh wow, deaths. That is a huge improvement.
So, yeah.
Oh wow.
So that's our goal, is to keep that track going.
Very good. Now, before the show started, we also had one other thing. We've got about a minute left in the program, but it was. I mean, we're very focused on the DUI, the alcohol, and let's not leave out the drugs and stuff because we know we've got the young people have pill parties now too and stuff like that. So we've got alcohol, we've got drugs, but then there's a new kind of evil that we're talking about.
Yeah, in the every 15-minute program, they're starting to emphasize on texting and driving.
Texting and driving.
Because they're finding more and more teenagers getting in accidents due to texting rather than drinking and driving.
Okay, so we'll see some changes in the years to come, but I guess for the kids, it's just to keep it in mind. You don't want to be drinking and driving. You don't want to be doing drugs and driving. And you don't want to be texting while you're driving. Pretty simple.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Well, thanks for everything you do.
Yeah.
It's obviously showing that it's hitting them at home. It's making them think about it.
Yep, and it's a community-involved thing. I mean, there's players of every kind from this community.
It's always nice to talk about a program that's working. You can see that it is working and moving forward. So thanks so much for coming in, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good one. Good job.
Thank you.
All right, that's today's Countywide. I'm Paul David, and we will talk to you again next time.